Would you please tell us why Gallup is a supporter of Lemonade Day?
Well, Gallup is a big supporter of a special need that we've seen in the United States where we don't have, there's not enough intentionality in creating startups. And we think that Lemonade Days is one of the most amazing things that we've seen. We can't have early identification early enough and then activities and very intentional development. America can't have enough of that because, as we all know, the number of startups has been going down, but it's very, very fixable. Things like Lemonade Day will play a huge role in fixing it. That's why we support it so much. We think it's exactly the right activity for America.
So what about Lemonade Day works?
Well, I think one thing is that some people are specially wired, and when they sell something and they get some money for it and they make a profit, it really feels good.
Right.
And they also, at a very early age, they get a chance to develop a customer. You've of course been at Lemonade Days, but if you watch the kids behind the counter, some of them kind of are shy and they step back a little bit, but some of them go, "Oh my gosh, you mean I give this lemonade and I get this money, and then if I hit a certain point, I get to keep it?" But they get that feeling. And there's two things. One thing is you light that person up and they get an idea that they really like developing a customer. But then also we can watch and we can spot those kids. But it's sort of a perfect experiment to identify the unusual entrepreneurs at a very early age.
And what about the age makes the difference?
Well, I think it's like anything else. We believe that to a great degree, you are born to have very special traits of entrepreneurship. I'm not talking about IQ. I'm talking about it's more what's in your heart than your head. You have extreme determination. You have an insatiable need for independence. But you see, if nobody really spots that until you're about 50, you missed it. So you say, well, what age should we do? Should we spot it at 20? At 15? The right answer is as early as you possibly can.
And Gallup has done several amazing studies. Could you please shed a little light on some of the studies and the statistics, just some that come to mind for you?
We think that everybody can play a role in entrepreneurship. We find three real important roles. One's an alpha rainmaker. That's the person who goes out and gets customers, ones that we're talking about. We think they're born. We think these are neuron configurations, not unlike IQ and a lot of other things. Another one is an alpha manager. So let's say that you're the alpha rainmaker and you can go out and get a lot of customers. Somebody's got to hold the place together. That's me. Somebody else over here has to be the person that's the expert. Whether you and I start a restaurant or some kind of a market research company, we got to have somebody that can come in and make the food tasty, or else be an advanced statistician. There's something about figuring out where you fit in. But of the alpha rainmaker, which is the one that just is such a game changer, the real rare ones, if you said how many Steve Jobs are out there, our answer is 0.5%. I'm talking about really rare individuals. But so you have about 4 million kids who graduate from high school each year. Within there are superstars. Now you see, we know the running backs, we know the little kids with high IQs, the point guards and elite quarterbacks and all that. The thing we need to know most is which one of them are the elite quarterbacks, but elite entrepreneurs. And so if you do 0.5 times 4 million, you get about 20,000. There are 20,000 kids coming out of our American high schools. The number's not very big, that can build organizations of any size. We just don't know who they are. And Americans are better than that. This is a big problem that America has, but it's so fixable. I think Americans will fix it very quickly.
Okay, and what are you really passionate about? What lights you up when you think about entrepreneurship?
Well, right now you keep reading in the papers that there's a recovery. There is no recovery, and that's not political or anything else. But technically and clinically, we're not in a recovery. And if you go through the fundamentals right now, GDP per capita is increasing at a decreasing rate. Over 20 years, it's going down just like that. That's all bad. What that is it means that GDP, which is potential earnings per person, is going down, and then expenses are blowing through the roof. That's why Americans don't have much moving around money. If you said, what is the problem? The problem is that economic energy originates with startups. Startups originate when a God-blessed entrepreneur gets up some morning and bets everything they have on starting a company. But well-meaning leaders in America are virtually all on the wrong track. They think innovation starts companies, and they're just wrong. Innovation is very, very important. They've given it the wrong expectation. And what you got to do is right next to it, you got to have an entrepreneur. Innovation has no value at all until a customer is standing next to it. That's what an entrepreneur does. Gallup's interest is in trying to move some of that narrative, or all of it, or half of it, to the other half of the equation, which is entrepreneurship, moving some of the innovation interests so people understand the important role of the entrepreneur. Because if you don't have it, innovation has no value at all. But Gallup's really interested in helping America try to fix that.
Thank you for that. One last question that I have would be, if you could paint a picture for Lemonade Day, what would you like to see for Lemonade Day 5 years from now, 10 years from now?
Well, Lemonade Day works. That's first of all. You don't need to test it. You don't need to do anything else. But it's an activity that gets people at a very young age, lights them up about the possibilities of creating a customer. But creating a customer at such an early age is, I think, the most important. I think it's more important than sports, music. Remember, that's just me, so all due respect for everybody in the arts and everything else. But at this moment, there is nothing more important that we light kids up about than that. But in a perfect world, our top 500 cities, we only have about 50 big ones, but there'd be Lemonade Days in all 50 of those. But every kid in America ought to have a chance to sell a glass of lemonade and make a profit.
And I'm just going to add to that, because you're international, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and longer range, you want to be international. So could you just talk a little bit about the international aspect, Gallup and Lemonade Day, if you don't mind?
Well, I don't quite know the question, but I would first of all say that the best way we can help the world is make Lemonade Days just boom here, because the rest of the world, regardless of the Gallup polls, whatever you read on how they feel about us as Americans and everything else, they deeply admire us and they watch us. But if we have Lemonade Days just booming here, the whole world will follow. I mean, everybody will want Lemonade Days. And so you say, what's the best thing to do? Should we go to Buenos Aires? Should we go to Berlin? Or should we go? No. Just boom it here, and the rest of the world will follow.